Hello, I'm Gabrielle.
And I'm Sam.
We are from the University of Washington and the University of California, Santa Barbara, working with Prof. Nadya and Prof. Jennifer, respectively. And today we are presenting our paper, Remote Learners, Homemakers, How Digital Fabrication Was Taught Online During a Pandemic. Digital fabrication courses, which rely on physical makerspaces, were severely disrupted by COVID-19. As universities shut down in the spring of 2020, instructors had to develop new models for digital fabrication at a distance. We were interested in better understanding how these instructors adapted their courses to a remote format. Specifically, our questions were, how did people teach digital fabrication remotely during the pandemic? And two, how can we learn from instructors' efforts to teach digital fabrication in a crisis? To examine these questions, we relied on two data sets: autobiographical data from Jennifer's and Nadya's remote fabrication courses taught in the spring of 2020, and external interviews with instructors and students at 8 different universities. We decided to incorporate autobiographical data because Jennifer's and Nadya's courses used a fabrication access model that was not present in the external data. Specifically, they used an at-home machines instruction model. Through the interviews and the examination of course materials, we identified 4 other fabrication access models: simulation, online vendors, makerspace to job shop, and instructor or student technicians. You can find a detailed description of each fabrication model in the paper.
In our data analysis, we organized our finding along 4 main themes. Number 1, the remote instruction formats created new forms of at-home labor for both instructors and students. For instance, some students and instructors worked as fabrication technicians for their peers or their students, which meant they took on extra tasks such as monitoring production or delivering parts. Number 2, alternative models of personal fabrication surfaced new learning opportunities for students. For example, courses that relied on an online vendor or student technician fabrication model could more easily simulate the multi-party design workflows that exist in industry. Number 3, while the tacit knowledge that comes with a physical making practices was valued by all the instructors that we interviewed, the way in which this knowledge was transmitted remotely varied. For example, art classes such as Ben Light's subtraction at NYU ITP encouraged students to develop experimental making practices. However, the engineering course ME102, taught by Mark Kudkowski at Stanford, focused on mastering CAD software to make parts that would later be manufactured by an online vendor. Number 4, the absence of a fabrication space created significant shift in patterns of collaboration. For example, in Vivek, Adam, and George's class, Design Innovation at Berkeley, the student who received the parts from the online vendor and assembled the final project was often the student with the most prior fabrication experience.
Analysis of our findings yielded the following insights. Number 1, the course's learning objectives had a great impact on which tacit element of digital fabrication were transmitted to students, which stresses the importance of articulating course objectives and structure over access to fabrication spaces. Number 2, regardless of the fabrication model chosen by instructors, providing students with opportunities for exploration and iteration yielded the strongest learning outcomes rather than a focus on access to tools and materials alone. Finally, the remote learning format of the courses we surveyed exacerbated inequalities among students in terms of access to both human and material resources. Instructors play a crucial role in how access to resources is managed by being specific about what the learning objectives are. They can make better decisions about what material resources are needed and how best to distribute them. We hope that this research will hold sustainable and equitable opportunities for students to have hands-on learning experiences, even if those opportunities need to happen at a safe distance. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and if you want to learn more, please go ahead and read the paper.
Thank you.